Hey guys, it's Renee
and Mike,
and we're Middle-Aged Road Rage.
So if you're watching this, chances are you're probably a motorcyclist.
That's right, there's a lot of us out there. For instance, Mike, did you know that the number of on-road motorcycles that are registered in the United States has been increasing throughout the years, approximately doubling from 4.3 million in 2002 to 8.8 million in 2023?
Well, that sure sounds like a lot of bikes, but where are all these bikes anyways?
Well, let's talk about it. Let's do it. So some recent data came out from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, or the IIHS, to determine which state in the U.S. had the most motorcycle registrations per 100,000 people. And, we wanted to find out which states came out on top.
Speaking of top, is this just for the lower 48?
Well, actually, they did include Alaska and Hawaii in this, right? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about overall, though.
Now, I bet I can guess which state has the most motorcycles registered.
Oh, yeah? Where do you think that is?
That's got to be our home state of California.
So you're right when you're talking about total motorcycle registrations across the board, right? There's 952,977 registered bikes in California. But the way this study was done, they actually wanted to do the data a little different. They wanted to see how many motorcycle registrations there were per 100,000 people for each state.
So that's really interesting. But before we get into that, what other states had the most bike registrations?
All right, well, let's get to it. The state coming in with the second most bikes registered at 645,012 is the state of Florida. Following Florida was the state of Ohio with 389,657 bikes registered.
Now that I never would have guessed.
Well, would you have guessed that their neighboring state of Pennsylvania then came in next at 385,159?
Yeah, but what about the great state of Texas? I thought that would be up there.
That's a good guess. Texas came in fifth overall at 380,830.
So that's awesome. But what did the IIHS say are the top 5 states for bike registrations per 100,000 people?
Coming in at number 5 is the state of Iowa. They have 168,413 total registrations, but per 100,000 residents, they came in at 5,278 per 100,000 residents.
So that's pretty interesting. What's number 4 on the list?
Okay, so number 4 on the list is the state of Wisconsin, right? So they have 319,907 total bikes registered, but per 100,000 residents, they're coming in at 5,425.
And number 3?
Okay, now this is interesting. Number 3 is South Dakota. Now, South Dakota has like a smaller population than the Wisconsin. Wisconsin's got close to 6 million people. And South Dakota has less than 1 million people, but registered motorcycles per 100,000 residents comes in at 5,754 people.
So that brings us to the state with the second most registered bikes, right?
I was surprised to see it's New Hampshire. They love their bikes there.
Wow.
Per 100,000 people, they have 6,130 registered bikes.
I would not have guessed that.
I wouldn't have guessed it either.
All right then, so what's number 1?
So I guess this is the state where most of the residents love their bikes. Coming in at number 1 was Montana. Wow, I know, right? So registered motorcycles per 100,000 residents in Montana comes to 6,312. Man, they love their bikes in Montana.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, listen to this. With a population of 1,084,225, the total number of registered motorcycles is 68,439. That is an incredible bike-to-person ratio.
So if you're a biker in the U.S.,
Yep, if you're in the U.S., let us know what state you're in the comments below. Well, we'll check in with you next time. We gotta go.
see ya.